Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast producing badass.
I'm John Thomas. Some would say that I go a little too far with my love of all things horror, paranormal, and meta, but I say, talk nerdy to me, and I'm all yours.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all of our horror pals? In today's episode, we've got your 3Haunted crew, including our special guest host, BJ Segura, here just to talk about whatever comes up. So here we go.
Yay, BJ.
Welcome. Hey, BJ.
Hello, friends. How's everybody doing today? Enjoying this cold day in Colorado?
It's cold day.
Yeah. You know me, freezing balls off
That's
left and
why she
right.
has none.
Well, I lost my first set in the war, but now my second
That's
set.
a bad place to lose it.
Speaking of the war, I have something random to get into. It is the ADD in me, but I've been thinking about it for a while.
Okay.
So my 6-year-old nephew he talks about weird stuff. He's into horror. He loves it. You know, I think I've talked about him before, where my mom asked him what he wanted for Christmas, and he said Halloween decorations, which is amazing.
That kid is like my soulmate, my spirit animal.
Yes. But he has brought up before that he used to be a British soldier in World War II. So yeah, he had a brother and all of these things, and it was very strange. I was like, really?
And he's
like,
6?
Yeah. And he's 6. So he started talking about it, I think either last year or the year before, but he talks about it like it's fact. He's like, yeah, I told you this already, uncle. Like,
he gets all irritated. How many times do we have to talk about this?
Right, because it's weird. Like he'll know, like he knew about the French flag before he learned about it. Like it was just weird little things that it's like, I don't know, as far as reincarnation goes, if you guys believe in that or if it's a thing, but I think that there's a lot of, I think kids in particular, if that exists, they tend to remember it from ages like 5 to 7, that kind of deal. That's at least what I've read and watched on some documentaries, because I was trying to do a script about reincarnation, kind of a fun horror script that dealt with that. And yeah, just going down that rabbit hole, I think is kind of fun because, you know, who knows? Like, what do you guys think that's could be a reality?
I mean, I don't see why not. I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's out there and that exists. And so there are things that kids say that really, I think, in your gut make you feel like there's something more to that. And it's not something they saw on TV or something they read or learned about. Like there's something there, and I wouldn't discredit it.
Right, because kids, I mean, sure they have a wild imagination, but still they speak what they know.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of strange that way, you know. And I don't know. I've been thinking about that kind of stuff a lot, because that in relation to like ghosts, into relation with, you know, the afterlife, heaven, hell, all of that stuff, purgatory, and it's like, does that all come together somewhere?
I feel like, especially with kids, they are more connected to their intuition and accept that as fact than we do. I think that life gets to us and kind of fucks that up and like beats that out of us as we get older and we develop, and so then we don't trust it as much and we have to learn back. Like think about what we're doing as adults. It's like, how do I get my intuition back? How do I reconnect to, like, we're all trying to get back to that space, and kids I think are naturally just attached to it. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say that. I mean, for you guys, when you were between that age range, did you have any feelings that you were someone else or different lives, or did you have like an affinity to something that was really strong that you couldn't explain?
Not that I know of. But I mean, I do think that kids, like you said, they are more susceptible to it because we haven't taught them, monsters don't exist, or stuff like that. This doesn't exist. Ghosts aren't real. So we, as adults, that's what we've been doing to the kids. It's just that's not real. There's no monsters under your bed. So they stop believing in all of that stuff. And when they're older, like you said, we're going back to how do I get my intuition? How do I do this? How do I? And then yeah. So it's just I think before we teach them that stuff's not real, they know that it is, and they go with it.
I think for me, the past life stuff first started actually when I was younger. From a picture my parents showed me of my grandpa. So my grandpa basically died less than a year before I was born. Like my mom found out she was pregnant with me at the funeral, and there's this picture of him as a middle school kid, and me and him look identical in that picture. And we even have like the same eye scar, which is very weird. I mean, I got the eye scar. It wasn't a birthmark, but I got the eye scar from jumping on a bed and landing on a bedpost and getting stitches and all that. But I thought that was pretty interesting that it was that we looked so much alike and all of that. And that was one thing that I did look up, that a lot of people who say that they've had a past life do have these birthmarks, which were scars from the past life, from like wounds and how they died and things like that. And I think that's pretty interesting. And I think um, for my family, it would make sense because I mean, the thing is, like with reincarnation, it's not, you don't just go into another family member necessarily, right? You could go into somebody from to a different race, different gender, all of those different things, different country, all that. So I don't know. I'm super interested in it, and why, and if why is it so hard for us to connect back to that world? And I think it's like what you guys are saying, like as you get older, you kind of let go of it because you have to live this life, and that's what's important. Maybe the past life was too painful in some for some situations, but I don't know. I think it's super interesting.
I think it would be too
Yeah.
confusing. Like, if you could carry every single past life or even just the previous one, you may not be able to fully be present in this life because let's say you had an epic love in your past life. Now you're going to be looking for that person this entire life potentially. Or if you got your heart wrecked, you might, you know, be carrying that aversion and that baggage into this life, and some might argue we do, but I don't know, I just feel like if it's that present, like in your conscious mind, because you do have the memories of your past life so present, you wouldn't be able to be fully present in this life.
And they say that you do actually like come in contact with people, if you believe in reincarnation, that you run into them over and over, right? Like in one life they were your cousin, in another life they were your best friend, like that kind of
Yeah, I've
thing.
heard that.
Um, coworker, like yeah, who knows, or just a passerby, or you met once, which is kind of crazy. Which I don't know, like even like Ashley, when we first met, like that was the first thing like I felt with you, which was very strange. Like I felt a very
Hey.
like a comfort, yeah, like a comfort that felt yeah, like family,
Yeah,
like something that was
agreed.
familiar, and yeah, just it was cool, but it was also like almost unexpected. And that's why I was like, oh, I gotta get to know this person because there's something's up.
Honestly, I think there's 2 parts to that. I do fully believe in soul families, and those are the people that we constantly, if we believe in reincarnation, those are the people that we consistently are around as we reincarnate. So, like you said, there are cousins, our friends, our family, our mentors, our enemies, like people that we're consistently um, incarnating with, playing different roles. And it's the same kind of soul and that familiar vibe that you get. And the reason I say enemies is because have you ever just met someone and you're like, I don't know why I
But I
don't like
don't.
you, but I,
Yep,
I immediately
exactly.
don't like you. And it doesn't make sense, but you're something inside of you is like, you're my enemy or something. Like, you're not good energy for me. And it just feels like an automatic knowing. Sometimes I feel like that may be part of this whole family thing, for better or for worse. But the second part to that, I think, are the idea of deja vu. For me, you can get deja vu with people. Like you said, the familial, like I met you and you feel like family to me. And sometimes I feel like with those people, they may not be part of your soul family that you're incarnating with. Sometimes I feel like those are the people that you're meant to feel like you know, so that you know you're in the right place at the right time. You're on that right track. So it's like a check in, like, hey, I feel like I know you. And it's like, that's a person you're supposed to know. This is
Mm,
something like you're good at, whether for better or for worse. Maybe you have the most explosive romance with them or the most toxic relationship with them. But either way, it's like they were a person you were supposed to meet in this lifetime for whatever reason, for whatever lesson or experience you were learning.
That makes sense.
yeah. I think I believe that. I also believe in the we talk about dreams all the time. My family, me, my brother and my mother all have these weird deja vu prophetic stuff dreams where we'll dream about something and then it'll happen. And it's usually like a place that and it triggers the deja vu, right? And
Mm.
but for us, it's like I remember having that dream like when I had the dream. Like I remember having like where I was, it was like 5 years ago I had this dream, and then now I'm living in that moment. And it's like a for me it's a location. It's not necessarily a person. But maybe it is. Maybe that's part of it. Like you said, maybe it is something that it is a person, but I don't remember it. I just remember the location because it's you're in it, and it's easier to remember a place, I guess, than a person, especially if it's not so vivid in your dream.
I've had deja vu with the podcast a couple times, which is trippy as
Really?
shit. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like it was so weird. But yeah, there were a couple times where I was like, I've done this before. Like what the hell?
I mean, some of the topics start to blend together.
True, but no, it was like actual deja vu, and I was like, I think I even brought it up at one
Yeah.
point. I was like, this has happened once already. Like what the hell? So
See, you guys know I'm not like an audible like person when it comes to I don't hear spirits. I don't hear like that's just not my thing. I'm a feeler. But I will tell you, and this is gonna sound crazy. So listeners, cover your ears if you are like, "Whoa, this is too weird for me." But when I am my most connected with like I feel my most connected to what's outside of me, what's beneath me, what's inside of me, like just fully connected. I don't know what how else to describe that, but just like intuition is spot on and everything is just in alignment. I swear there are moments where like I'll be doing something and it hits me like this moment is where you need to be. And I almost hear, like, do you know the sound of like a chessboard piece sliding into
Hmm.
place? I can hear that. And it's so random. And it's like, it's just like, I just slid into the next move of this is where I'm supposed to be. It's so weird. I know I don't think I've ever vocalized that, but yeah, it's really, I don't know how to explain that other than like some people get the deja vu and it's almost like I'm hearing it. Like, this is the next step. This is the path you're supposed to be on.
That's really cool. I think
It's a chess piece sound.
no, that's amazing. I love chess. Like and that sound is perfect for that. Um yeah, so I don't know. So for me, like bad things happen in this world, right? And for me it's hard to believe that in fate 100% cuz I think there are things that happen in your life that can, that are fate related, but I don't think your entire existence is fate related. I think that like we are free. We are on this earth. We are free to do things the way we want to do them, and people can affect your life however they affect your life. And I think that fate can affect some things, but not everything. Just because I don't know, I don't because there's just so many horrible things in the world. It's hard for me to believe that. oh yeah, that's all part of the plan. Like,
That's your
you
soul
know,
contract right
so
there. You did it. You signed up for it.
That's where I struggle with the soul contract. I know one of our guests recently described like the soul contract are the lessons that you signed up to learn, but it's not necessarily the choices that you make. So it's more so I signed up to learn ultimate love, or I signed up to learn heartache, or I signed up to whatever. But what we do in between is completely up to us. And so for me, some people think the soul contract is like the exact actions and events, and that's where I struggle with, like, if it's the exact events, then why do we even
Right.
bother
right.
self-improvement? Why do we even bother growing? Because it's all going to happen the way it's supposed to anyways, and it takes away like that personal ownership and responsibility, right? But if it's more like they described, where it's more so like an overall topic you're learning, then that makes a little bit more sense, right? Like, hey, you signed up to learn lessons about love this round. Cool. That still leaves everything up to me. Or if you signed up to learn about scarcity or success or whatever, this round is going to be your lessons. That still leaves a lot up to me. And that makes more sense. But this whole idea of like predetermined fate, I'm like, man, that takes away.
Everything.
Yeah, because then it's like it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how I grow. It's already written
Yeah.
out. And I don't fucking like that.
I don't like that either. That's why I struggle with it too. I'm just not as verbal about it as as you are until last night.
Well, I don't want to say to a guest that fully
Well, yeah,
believes in that,
no,
because
that's
that can sound like I'm being
exactly.
combative. But like, you know, we're on here with just us three, so I feel like I can kind of pull that filter off a
Yes.
little bit and say, I don't fucking like
Yeah.
that. I don't like the idea that things are predestined, and that like you signed up for this, so this is
No.
where you're at. And it's like, well, can I talk to someone about that? Because I'd like to amend my contract. I don't
Yeah.
want, nope, I'm not good with that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, I mean, I think I've talked to Ashley about it. I don't know if I talked to you, John, about it. About I lost my cousin back in April to a drive-by shooter. She was walking her dog home, and 15-year-old kid, right? So horrible, horrible, horrible thing to happen. And I can't, for the life of me, I just can't believe that, oh yeah, this happened so that these people could learn these lessons, you know. And especially just not like selfishly, I obviously miss her and I wanted her in my life, and she was supposed to be the co-host on my podcast. And but for her family, right, to lose, to be gone, to she was only 43 years old, and she had all these plans and all these things, and she had a rough upbringing too. So it's like having it rough at the beginning and at the end, like completely unfair and completely. And I just, for something like that, the way it happened, and doesn't just happen. Obviously, it happens all over, right? There's the school
Right.
shootings, there's war, there's all of these unnecessary violence, and just people's lives just stolen from them. And for me personally, I just can't believe that fate is the cause of that.
Well, I think one of our guests, was it last season, even said like for the people that um die for all of those different awful reasons, that's part of their soul contract too, that they offered to be that sacrifice. And I'm like, is that what people say to make themselves feel
Right.
better about those things that are going on? Because here's the thing, and I'm going to say this once, because again, we don't have any guests on that are in this world, because honestly I respect their position and I respect where they're coming from,
100%.
but it has, yeah, but it has to be said, it is a privilege to be able to explore spirituality and metaphysical in the way that a lot of people are experiencing it and exploring it in the West. People that are in war, that are actively being bombed, they don't have a chance to sit down and lay down on the ground and have song bowls being played and having 10 minutes of meditation. They don't have that luxury. And so oftentimes we hear it being thrown at us a lot, well, it's what you vibrate out. Well, it's where your mindset is. Well, it's all these things. And I'm like, yes, but that's because we have the privilege to pause and say, well, that's where I don't want my mindset to be. That's where I don't want my vibration to be. But realistically, some kid who's being forced to work in a sweatshop and being, abused and assaulted, like they don't have that luxury. And I think there's something to be said about that. And that's not to say it's not possible. We see the idea of balance and internal peace and alignment has been something that's not new. It's very old. We see it very well practiced out in India, where life isn't always great there either. And we see it, having like the Native Americans found their spirituality throughout even survival in a way we couldn't even comprehend, right? Like hunting down buffalo and hoping you don't get eaten at night by predators. Like there are real life scenarios that were a lot harder that people are able to find that connection. But I think the way that we view spirituality and that new age metaphysical right now comes from a place of high privilege, if that makes sense. Like that
Yes.
lens of privilege.
Yeah, it's easy to talk about these things when you're not struggling the way these people that you mentioned are struggling. And maybe they can connect in ways that that help them, and they can contemplate, they can meditate, they have time, they don't have to work 3 jobs and who knows, right? Or work in a sweatshop or all these different things. And yeah, it's I feel like the people that I vibe with the best are the people who have struggled the most, because they understand something about life and the spirituality and all of these things without reading the handbook on the metaphysical and all of that, right? Like I feel like it's more raw, and it's more they're more in tune with it, because it hits them differently than somebody who's read a book, or who, like you said, is privileged. And that's the thing with horror that I've noticed too, is that a lot of people that love horror are also, have gone through some bad things in their lives. And I like, those are the people that I vibe with the most, and that I connect with. And I feel like that connection is, I don't know, it's it it's a more of a, I don't know if it's a more of a foundation to be able to talk about these things through pain, or it feels better. It feels like it's without intention. It feels like it's more um exploration in from the right point of view. Or I don't know about the right point of view, but unbiased, or maybe you don't have an angle. You're not trying to make money or whatever from it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a raw point of view that's
Yeah.
rooted in nothing else other than just existing. And I'm not trying to discredit that people are trying to grow and trying to learn and trying to be better versions of themselves because they feel that inside. That's not what I'm saying at all, but I do feel like sometimes it's it's easier and it makes people feel better to say, well, it was that in that person's soul contract to exist in war, to go through this. And it's like, but is it? Like, and even if it is, do we just turn the other way and say, well, that was in their soul contract? Or do we say, hey, you know what? It sucks you have to feel that, but how can I help?
Right.
How can I be there? And that's I think where I struggle with that too, is like I think sometimes the soul contract or the predestined or anything like that is a way just to make people feel better that someone is suffering or hurting or that people are doing bad things and awful things to one another. Um, but that's just me.
What do you think, John?
I agree with Ashley. And then you brought up horror and how, people who have to deal with the bad stuff kind of enjoy it more than others, maybe. I feel, and we've talked about this in, podcast, how we use it as an escape, how we use it to experience things that we otherwise, hopefully, would not experience, in real life.
I want to experience
Well,
a
yes,
vampire.
some of those things
I'm just
definitely,
kidding.
but like the torture and
Right
like
here.
hostile or stuff, nobody wants to experience that shit. So, we use that as a way to kind of to feel, and we always sit there and say, "Oh, I wouldn't do that in that situation," but would we? How do we really know?
You don't know till you're in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you did mention monetizing, like some people are, trying to make money. And, you know, it's like for me, it's a very fine line because I do feel like everybody's got to survive. And if that's your gift and that's how you survive, kudos to you. It's like a doctor that does heart surgery. They're doing good things for the world, but they need to be taken care of too.
Yeah.
But I do feel oftentimes the monetization is rooted in taking advantage of people's pain. I'm going to be really honest, taking advantage of people feeling lost. And it's like, well, you too can be cured for $1,000 a month and be a part of my club and be a part of this. And it's like, ooh,
I'm back.
where's the line between taking advantage of people who are in a vulnerable position and needing to take care of yourself? I don't know. But I guess that could be said about doctors and cancer too. Like someone desperately needs your help and it's like, how much are you willing to pay? I don't know. There's a lot of gray areas where I don't have the answers. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about half the time. I just run my mouth.
I
Who decided it was a good idea to give me a
Me.
podcast?
It was me.
I think you guys are doing great, and I just love the insight, like where your guys' heads go. Like it's great. I think when we talk about this stuff, yeah, I mean, when people are helping other people, like, should you feel guilty that you're helping somebody because it makes you feel good, or that you're making money from it? Like, it's that are you being selfish, right? It's that whole thing, and like you said, it's a fine line to deal with. But if you're taking, I feel like if you are helping people and you're taking time out of your life to improve somebody else's, like, do it. I mean, obviously, don't take advantage of people, right? But I don't know. I think that's part of why people listen to podcasts and things, and especially you guys, because there's a lot of episodes that you guys talk about where it's about self improvement. It's about through the supernatural and all these other things, that different ways of going about it that can give people peace. And I think that's a good thing. I think that is a good thing. And there are so many methods out there that like we could talk a whole episode about stones, right? Like Ashley knows all about that. And I think that's very important. And I guess what's important is that that you're providing the information for these people, that you're giving it out, and it's not necessarily trying to sell something, right? You're just giving them good information, and then they can do with it whatever they want. So
Oh, I'm trying to sell something. We're gonna have a 300 monthly membership.
Yeah.
It's gonna be called Get Spooky.
Get
No, I'm just kidding.
spooky.
No, and I hear what you're saying. And to your point, there does need to be, in my opinion, an exchange of energy. So if someone is putting the energy into helping you heal, helping you grow, helping you learn, that is going to deplete them. So there does need to be some kind of exchange, whether it's monetary or trade or something, because otherwise it is, like you said, taking advantage of somebody, and it is going to drain them as well. And so that energy exchange does need to be present. And maybe it takes form in like the form of monetary, right? Monetary form of, hey, I'm going to help you through this. And cool, I'm going to give you $50. Great. Look at us. We exchanged. Woo.
yeah.
Speaking of which, you guys owe me $50.
Got it. Venmo on its
Check
way.
is in the mail.
I need 2 forms of identification, please.
Here's one. Here's two.
Oh.
He just flipped me the bird. Rude.
Twice.
Oh, rude.
Twice.
Love you. Yeah, 2 of them bad boys. They coming in for a landing. Watch out.
When I see you next, I'm gonna kick your ass.
That sounds like a blast. I can't wait. She thinks
So,
I'm joking.
BJ,
Go
what were
ahead.
you gonna say?
I don't know. I have so many things running through my head. Again, I have ADD, so it's all over the place, right? But I do like the conversation. I do like the conversation about, the different tools that we can use to help everybody out, that aren't just in the medical field, right? Like that's the thing that sucks about our society today is, you think about people taking advantage of people, you think about, medical field, you think about drugs and all the things out there, and it sucks that we've gotten to this place in our society, um, where we have to rely and we have no other choice, and especially places like the United States. We were supposed to be this powerful country that takes care of its people. Nope, that doesn't happen, not really.
You
So
had me at drugs.
yes, but it's good to talk about the different ways to help ourselves get get through life without these traditional methods of medicine and things like that. And you
But
know
I don't want to get through life.
sure, sure.
I want to do better or worse because life can be fucking hard. And we all know that. But like, do better or worse, I want to enjoy every moment, even the bad shit, even the painful shit, because that means I'm alive.
Right.
And that's a privilege. I understand that because I'm not being bombed and I'm not being torn apart and I'm not being abused. I get that's a privilege. But for me, I would like to maintain perspective that at the end of the day, even when my heart's being ripped apart, even when I am frustrated and overwhelmed, that I'm still alive and I'm still here and I still have a chance to make a difference.
Yeah, that's important because you think about all the people who don't have that opportunity, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like every day, that's what it is for me. Like thinking about my cousin, thinking about other people that you've lost along the way, and you're like,
Mhm.
that's what keeps me going for the most part. I mean, there are other motivations, but obviously for me, it's like they would have done so much with their lives. That's what keeps me going, right? That's what keeps me motivated to keep going. And they had all these plans and all these ideas, and they were living their lives hard. And it's almost, and you got to take it easy on yourselves. That's the other thing. Like I try to tell myself, like, you know do what you can, but you can always take a break and breathe, because I think that's important as well. But yeah, I mean, I always try to live my life just because they can't, you know.
I live my life 1/4 mile at a time.
Ooh.
Did I mention I love Fast and Furious movies?
Family.
I hate those movies so much.
Get
I
the
So
love
fuck out
much.
of
them. They're
here.
so
So
they're
much.
so horrible that they're great.
My brother loves those movies. He has it on his Mustang that he said that quote from Paul Walker says, "I almost had you, man," on his car. And I'm like,
You almost
dude,
had me. You never had me. You never even had
You
your
had the
car.
call.
I love that. I'm serious.
Yes.
Like Fast and the Furious movies, I don't care how fucking ridiculous they get. Like they could go to outer space,
Yes.
which they technically did, I guess, and
Yes, in
I would
9,
still
yeah.
love it. Like I don't care. I love them.
9 wasn't my favorite, but ten redeemed 9 very much so.
I'm an
I
action
oh,
loved
movie
10.
junkie. Like I
Yes.
horror's always going to be my favorite, but like action's
Yes.
my mistress. So
I have to say that Jason Momoa playing a bad guy, playing a villain, I fucking loved him in Fast 10. That was so great. He was the best.
well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I didn't watch it because they should have stopped making them after like 3, or I
you're
don't know.
such
3.
a hater.
Well, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it went from street racing to all kinds of weird shit. I get
Yeah,
that, but at the
like
same point, I enjoy the action. I enjoy the stupid stunts that definitely cannot happen. But
okay.
no, I bring on 11. I can't wait for part 1 and 2 of 11. So
There are
there we
far
go.
better movies that could have had longer franchises than the Fast and the Furious, is all I'm saying. And it bothers me that they keep making money when they're terrible. And Vin
All right,
Diesel is
Jane.
not Superman, even though basically he is.
At this point, he might as well be.
But that's why people love it, because he's the average person and yet he's
Yes.
doing big things. You don't have to look like Chris Evans or Chris Pratt or like you name
America's
all the people
ass.
out there. Like
Yes.
you can be the dopiest, gnarly looking, short ass dude from the hood and still be kicking ass. I think that's why people like him, because
Yeah.
he isn't this idealized
I'm
guy
yeah.
that's like, look at me, I have a six-pack abs and I'm like
I mean, he's a
chiseled
big
for
dude.
God.
Like he's muscular, at least he was.
He is, but
But
he's not tall.
right.
He's
No,
not, I'm gonna say it, ladies, I'm sorry. He's not
he's not
handsome.
attractive. Yeah.
He's got charisma and
Right.
he's got heart, and that I think is
Absolutely.
why people connect to his character. And can we talk about Letty? Like, who doesn't fucking love Letty? She's
Right.
badass
Yeah.
Latina. She
Yeah.
like guy goes to hit her boyfriend from behind and she cold cocks and knocks him the fuck out. Like, that's my kind of girl.
Uh-huh.
So
That's a ride or die right there for sure.
love her.
I can agree with that. And yeah, like the super or the heroes, the action heroes that aren't physically like Arnold, like that's why Bruce Willis was so successful, because he was like an
Oh,
every
poor
man,
Bruce.
but
Exactly.
he had the
Love Bruce.
charisma, you know.
And Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I hope everybody's watching it this
Absolutely.
season.
We've already decided that. And if you're against that, then you're wrong.
Yes.
My kids brought it up this morning. They're like, "Hey, Mama, did you know we were watching the news and they said that 64% of people said Die Hard's a Christmas movie?" And I'm like, "Well, 36% are dumbasses because it is."
That's why the movie theaters are playing it around Christmas time.
Yes. I actually went to a ugly sweater party and I wore a gray
Nice.
sweater that says, like now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho, right?
Oh.
And yeah, it was great. And yeah, I mean, and I watched that movie 2 days ago just to confirm, because I mean I watch it all the time because action movies, right? But
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Action junkie, baby.
did you know that every one of the characters in it, all the main characters, all of them like hum a Christmas song?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like all of them, even
That's
Hans.
crazy.
Like it's
Well, I
crazy.
guess we're going to have to do a rewatch.
Right?
Yeah, like every one
Oh
of them,
no.
and obviously there's Christmas theme music all the time throughout, and
Yes.
yeah, so
When
it's
he puts a Santa hat on the bad guy,
yeah,
like when he sends him down. So I'm just saying, it's a Christmas movie.
yeah,
And Alan Rickman, come on, best villain ever.
Yes.
yes, absolutely. His fake American
Yes.
accent is terrible, but yeah, it's great.
Although Gary
It's
Oldman,
supposed to
he's
be.
also a terrific villain.
Oof.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if they were together somehow in a movie.
Well, you can't anymore.
No,
Like
no,
together, or
no, like on
Oh,
opposing
John, I love where
sides,
your head's at.
like Heat, which is
okay,
also a
gotcha.
great movie.
Yes.
So, like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino against each other, like that kind of thing.
So, what's the cheesiest horror movies you guys have watched lately?
Oh God. Oh,
Lately,
oh. Hold on, I have to look it up because I just watched it.
I don't know that I've watched one lately.
So there's one about zombies. It's called Dead Heat.
Okay.
So Dead Heat is an action movie that basically has zombies in it, where basically this doctor turns these basically criminals into zombies so that they can rob places and not die. And so that so there's these two guys that are, it's kind of like like a Lethal Weapon type thing, where there are these two partners go in and try to find out why these guys aren't dying. And then one of them does become like a zombie, and then it's just them trying to, it's a very quirky comedy horror. 1988 Dead Heat. It's worth watching. It's very funny.
I've heard of it, but had no idea that's what it was about. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I recently rewatched Dracula 2000.
Oh. Nice.
I forgot how much money they put into that movie because like every actor, like actors that they killed early on, that is like, holy shit, that was like a pretty decent named actor, and they just killed
Right.
them.
Who's
Danny
that done?
Masterson was in it.
Was
Old
that
asshole.
Omar Epps? Was he in that
Omar
one?
Epps was in it, yeah.
Yep.
And like they had a full, decent sized cast. I forgot how sexy Gerard Butler used to be.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jennifer Esposito.
Oh,
Yep.
I will always have a crush on her for my
yes.
whole life. She is
Yes.
That
gorgeous.
scene that
Good
she
Lord.
did in the when they've got her in jail and she's in like I don't know why, but she's in like a white nightgown and she's just like like she leans forward and does like a semicircle. She's like partially not even what would you even call that? It's not levitating, but she's just like
Floating.
defeating dynamics of physics, and
Mhm.
she's just like going back and forth and staring at them, and I'm like, oh
Like
my
fun, like
god,
you're just having a
yeah.
good time.
Yeah, like she's amazing. And like I don't know. I just thought like that movie was supposed to be sexy. It was obviously a brand
Mhm.
placement for Virgin Records back when it used to exist. And but I loved it. Even Vitamin C, like I'm a naughty girl. I forgot she went naughty in that, which back in the day that surprised us all, right? Because she's little
Yeah.
Miss like pocket full of
Pop.
sunshine. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's not her song, but you know, she was the what was it, the
Yes.
graduation song or whatever. And
Yeah.
like here she is having sex with Dracula and talking about sucking people dry. And I'm like, whoa, I forgot you got naughty in this.
Gonna have to rewatch that.
Yeah.
Cheesy, but still fun. I wasn't sure how it was
Yes.
gonna hold up, right? Especially like early 2000s, like vampire
Mhm.
movies. It's like, is this gonna hold up? But soundtrack was still on point. And
Nice.
yes, cheesy, but still fucking fun. So
What about you, John? Have you seen anything recently that was
No, I don't even know what the hell I've been watching, to be honest with you. I mean, they had the real life version of the Squid Games on Netflix. That's what I've been watching. That was fun. But yeah, as in cheesy, not so much. Speaking of cheesy, though, they did release the Beverly Hills Cop 4 trailer
don't
today.
talk. I don't want to. Don't tell it.
Okay, that's
I'm
all I'm gonna say.
obsessed with Beverly Hills Cop, so
I know.
I need to like I need to go watch it, but
Watch the trailer.
I
Yeah,
can't watch it
yeah,
without the family. Like that's
yeah,
our thing. So
yeah, yeah. No, yeah. The trailer came out today, and it looks like it's gonna be fun. So we'll see.
yay! I heard they were bringing back Serge for Beverly Hills
Oh,
Cop 4,
really?
which he's one of my favorite characters. Mister, get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here! No, I cannot. Do you want that with a lemon twist? Don't be stupid.
You mean Balky?
Valky, good
Yes,
old
Balky
Valky.
Valky.
from
Yes.
Perfect, is it Perfect Strangers?
Perfect
Perfect
Strangers.
strangers, yes.
Yeah.
All of you young listeners are not going to know what the hell we're talking about. Educate
No.
yourselves, please. Go
Yes, you're
back.
missing out if you don't know that one. So,
Yes.
is that even streaming anywhere?
Ooh, I
It
don't know.
is.
Where's it
I
streaming?
don't remember where, but I've seen it. I think Peacock might have it.
He said cock. So,
Cock. The cock has it.
the cock.
The cock.
The
Well, if
cock.
HBO could drop HBO and just be Max, then Peacock could just be the cock.
The
And
cock.
someone put a meme out there about that. Someone put a meme, Peacock, don't follow in the footsteps of HBO. And I'm like,
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
No, I do like what you guys have been talking about when we talk about like action movies and Axel Foley and all that. And did you know who you probably know this, who they were originally supposed to be Axel Foley, who they cast, and it was supposed to be a
Martin Lawrence. I'm
completely
just kidding.
different movie.
I feel
Some white
like,
dude.
what?
I was like, some white dude.
Yep. Do you know
Some
which
white
white? Don't look
dude.
it up. You
I
can't
knew
look
it
it
was,
up.
I'm
I knew it was
Googling.
a white
No,
dude.
look,
I knew it was
no.
a white guy.
I'll tell you, it
Mel
was
Gibson.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So they were originally going to have him be it, and then he couldn't do it for whatever reason, and so they
Thank
brought
Rambo,
him.
goodness.
Rocky. I'm
Yeah.
like Rambo, Rocky. Pick one of those freaking franchises.
So I'm
That's
so yeah.
probably why.
Obviously, Beverly Hills Cop wouldn't be the same without.
No.
Eddie Murphy.
No.
Axel Foley, there is only one Axel, period.
Yes,
Only one.
absolutely. What about the Lethal Weapon movies? I love those. Those are my favorite.
I
All
like
four
those
of them.
movies.
Mhm.
I also like the 48 Hours movies. They're so
Yes.
offensive, but
Yes.
Could not
hilarious.
get made
Gosh.
today at
Nick
all. Like,
Nolte is a
yeah.
terrible
I
human
feel
being
like
in that movie.
I feel like that's just who he is, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was much acting going on there.
No.
So it's a Nick Nolte, and then like Gary Busey, right? Like he's in
Yeah.
all of those action movies.
They're the
crazy,
same
whacked
person.
out.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
like literally. They're just split. Like, that's what happens when you clone. I'm joking.
They've got to be separated at birth. That's all I gotta say.
Yes. Yes.
I finally watched The Blackening.
Yes.
I love that movie.
So funny. So funny.
So good. So funny. Like, oh. Just the
Yes.
lines in it. Just there's so many like lines in there that were just so funny that the
It's
fight
so well
scene.
written.
Oh god,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
It was so
Yes.
much fun. Like all the way through. All the way through you're like, oh man, how's this gonna end? You know? I mean, it's not like I don't know if it's surprising the way it ends. I mean, it's kind of surprising, but it's also just I don't know.
But not.
It's funny. It's just like I don't think like you're there for the plot, right? Like the plot doesn't
No,
matter.
you're just there for the whatever. Yeah.
You're there for the characters' interactions with each other, right? More than anything. Their relationship.
Yes-ish. I think the plot is if you're a person who is of a minority descent does hit a little, especially
Yeah.
from
Right.
the perspective of the guy who, spoiler alert, is the killer.
Right.
Because I think all of us in our own ethnicity at some point, if you're, of any kind of minority, has probably experienced some form of like colorism and like not being enough of whatever your ethnicity is. And so
Oh yeah.
like that did ring a little bit close to home. I'm like, God damn it, yep, been there.
Well, he did vote for Trump twice.
Okay, like to be fair, I feel like they had to make him not completely sympathetic.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They had to figure out a way to make him repulsive.
That was great though. That was the tool that they used. I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Like,
Voted
that's
for
the way to go.
Trump twice. What? Oh no, get him.
Right. Ugh.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So funny.
You know what movie I revisited recently, like in terms of just like reading up on that I kind of wish they had continued that world and they left it open at the end of the movie, like they would potentially continue it, but they never did, was that movie Priest. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. That one was trippy.
Yeah, it was like the vampire world with the priests, but they're no like post-apocalyptic but they don't need the priests anymore because they've kind of created these cities and keep the vampires out.
Yeah.
And I really liked that one. I know it did okay, like mediocre on a lot of like the rating systems, and I think Rotten Tomatoes even gave it an awful rating, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun.
I wish
I
they
think that's the
continued
one that's the one with that old lady in the restaurant. She gets all fucking cracked
No.
out, right? It starts. No, what
You're
one is
thinking of
that?
Legion.
That one was fucking trippy too, though.
Legion
yeah,
was
but I remember
badass.
Priest. Yeah, I remember Priest as well, though.
2011.
Yeah, I really liked Legion too. That one, or as well. And actually, fun fact: Legion and Priest were directed by the same guy, Scott Stewart. So
that makes sense. That's why I got confused.
and it has the same lead actor, which is why you got confused. Paul Bettany.
There you go.
Yeah.
Except in Legion, Paul Bettany has the wings, and in Priest, he's got the marking on his head. So.
And then in the Avengers, I'm just joking.
Vision.
Sticking with the Priest theme, Velocipaster. I still need to see that.
What is that?
Velocipaster.
That is,
he's a pastor that turns into a dinosaur.
A velociraptor.
Yeah.
Is that sci-fi or horror?
Yeah, you'll have to ask Katie about that from Two Girls. She watched it and loved it.
She would.
It's on Tubi.
Of course she would.
So it's free on Tubi.
Okay, so here we go. I got a list, and I'm going to watch it this week. It's going to be... Hold on. So what did I say? I said Studio 666.
Yep.
Yes.
And then we got
Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland, and now we have Velocipaster.
Velocipaster.
Because that's just good fun.
Yes.
I've got a list of and
Keep your Tuesday clear.
what was the one I need? Oh, Renfield.
And Renfield,
Yes.
yeah.
I do need to watch Renfield. And what's crazy is I've been on flights where it's there and available, but I'm
You
just
just
like,
haven't. Yeah.
I
I'll
don't
watch
know
something
why.
else.
I just
She's like,
can't.
I'll watch
seem to
Evil Dead and
hit
freak
play.
everybody else out.
Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, baby.
Yes.
And it is the season. All right, guys. Are there
All
any
right.
other movies that we need to add to the list, the watch list, before we wrap it up?
Violent Night. It's a Christmas movie, and it has Hopper in it, and I love that movie.
That does need to be on my list.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that needs to be a thing.
And
That's my
John
favorite
Leguizamo was in it.
Yes, I love
And I love
Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. He's one of my
Yes.
favorites. He is such an underrated actor. I absolutely love
I saw his stand-up. I was in the first row back in the
Oh,
day,
you lucky
nice.
motherfucker.
and he was amazing.
Right?
I've only ever
Bro.
watched it on TV. Like I loved all of
Yeah.
his old stand-up. What was it? Mambo
Yes.
Kings, Sexaholics. Was it Freak?
I think so.
That shows you how much of a Leguizamo fan
There
I
you
am.
go.
Like
Yeah.
I love all of his comedy stuff and his movies. I know a lot of people hated The Pest. I loved it.
Right.
He's like
I started liking
that's just
him.
my guy.
Right.
The
I
Pest
started
is a little
liking him since he
ridiculous.
was in the original Super Mario Brothers when he played
Yeah.
Luigi.
That too.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Land
John
of the Dead.
Leguizamo.
He was in that too.
Yeah.
George Romero. So he's got his little
Yeah.
hidden horror going on. Not a hidden
Yes.
horror, hidden horror.
No, he's great.
Yeah, I absolutely
Hell
love
yeah.
him. He's one of my favorites for sure. I wish he were in more.
Yeah.
He does need to be in more. He's so underrated.
And also Sid the Sloth.
Yes. Sid the Sloth.
All right, John Thomas, you want to bring us home?
Yes. Thank you, BJ, for showing up today. I love it.
Absolutely.
We don't have you on here enough, Mr. Guest Host.
We missed you.
I try.
Yes. But I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.
Yes.
And thank you to our listeners for listening to this very out of place, very weird, very strange episode of 300 Podcast with your host. I'm John Thomas.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
And I'm BJ Segura.
Segura que sí.
Yes, he is. If you have any episode suggestions, questions, comments, movie recommendations, something, let us know at 300podcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, subscribe to all of our social media. You don't want to miss amazing people like us.
You don't want to miss us winging it, winging it, we wung it, we wing it.
We wung it. We winged it, wunged it.
You don't want to miss us. And also check out our merch at 300podcast.com. We're consistently running deals. So check it out. We got lots of amazing gear. BJ's wearing our amazing hat.
Whoop, whoop.
We have something for everybody. And don't forget to check out BJ's podcast,
Yes.
Tales from the Drive-In, at where, BJ?
talesfromthedrivein.com with a hyphen between the drive and in.
Yeah.
Until next time. Are you looking for more awesome podcasts? Head on over to withoutyourhead.com for access to the Without Your Head podcast network, where you'll find a variety of podcasts sure to keep you entertained and coming back for more.